Two industry leaders go head-to-head. One big question: which platform truly delivers for your team? On the left, Intercom, the conversational customer engagement platform. And on the right, ServiceNow, the enterprise service management powerhouse. Let's skip the jargon and dive into what actually matters. Each category gets scored, and by the end, you'll know exactly who takes the crown. The winner might just surprise you. All right, before we jump into the nitty-gritty, here's a quick mind map of all the categories we're going to compare today. We've got pricing and ROI, who these platforms are really for, deployment and setup, core features, integrations, user satisfaction, market position, and use cases. If there's a deal breaker for you, trust me, it's probably on this list. So let's get going. Okay, let's kick things off with pricing and ROI. Starting off with Intercom, you're looking at lower setup costs, way faster ROI for SMBs, and that competitive pricing. They even drop a 90-day money-back guarantee, which honestly is super reassuring. But here's a catch. If you want those high-end enterprise features, you'll have to level up your plan. Now, ServiceNow steps in with what seems like a bigger price tag, especially for small teams. But you know what? For huge enterprises, the return on that investment can be totally worth it. Their massive feature set really justifies the cost if you're rolling at scale. Still, for smaller companies, it can feel, well, kind of expensive and maybe even overkill. So for most folks, especially if you're not a giant organization, Intercom totally takes the crown here. Let's talk target audience, because wow, these two have totally different crowds. Intercom is pretty much made for SMBs, customer support squads, and those super fast-growing startups. It's like all about getting your team sorted quickly. But if you're an enterprise, the satisfaction score drops to a 4.2 out of 10, which is not great. And if you want serious IT firepower, you might be left wanting. Now, ServiceNow? This is where they flex hard. Absolutely stellar fit for big enterprises. Like, people rate it a whopping 9.3 out of 10. Especially those deep-in-the-weeds IT service teams. Large organizations, complicated ops, you name it. On the flip side, for smaller shops or simple needs, honestly, it might be overkill. But you know what? If you match the company to the platform, both shine where they're supposed to. So, I'm calling it a tie for target audience. Deployment and setup. Oh man, this makes or breaks a lot of teams. Intercom, you get quick implementation, an easy-to-use interface, and zero setup fees, which is basically a dream if you hate configuring stuff. There's minimal complexity here, but, you know, you might miss out on deeper customization. With ServiceNow, it's a whole other story. You get that classic, structured deployment model you'd expect from an enterprise giant, with strong integration for huge orgs, and also no setup fee, by the way. But whew, that extended deployment time, complex build, and just honestly, a steeper learning curve can be intimidating if you're not used to big platforms. So, if you want to get going fast with minimal fuss, Intercom snags this round. Oh, and here's something cool. Did you know Intercom's market share blew up from 0.2% to 1.9% in 2025? That's some real momentum, especially if you like seeing newer players shake things up. Core features time. This one's super interesting. Intercom absolutely crushes live chat. Like, people rate it a 9.5 out of 10. And their personalized, real-time engagement tools make talking to customers, well, actually kind of fun. Of course, you're not getting deep incident management or IT asset tracking, so if that's a must-have, heads up. Now, ServiceNow walks in and just throws everything plus the kitchen sink at you. It's got comprehensive case management, automated workflows, process integration, and all those ITSM capabilities for serious business. But their live chat score is a little meh at 7.7 out of 10, and it's not as conversational. So honestly, if you're after a chat-first experience, Intercom shines. But if you want mega process support, ServiceNow's got your back. Both excel, so it's a tie here. Moving on to integrations. This is where things get kinda spicy. Intercom has a whopping 238 total integrations. Seriously, that's a huge app ecosystem. 11 automation platforms, and just an absurd amount of ways to hook it into your workflow. Sure, if you're a mega enterprise, you may find some gaps, but for most teams, you're probably covered. ServiceNow, on the other hand, comes in with only 34 total integrations and 8 automation platforms. It's more focused on those heavyweight enterprise systems. But let's be real. If you need lots of third-party connectivity, you might be left wishing there was more. So it's super clear here. Intercom just totally dominates for integrations.
Let's chat about user satisfaction. Intercom gets big points for usability, rated 8.7 out of 10, which means it's easy to pick up and just start using. People are also likely to recommend it, and the renewal rate is basically flawless. But, and here's where it's less rosy. The support rating and implementation score are kinda low. Now, ServiceNow steps in with a giant recommendation score, stellar usability, and actually better support. You do get a lower renewal likelihood, and honestly, their online training score is abysmal. So it's not perfect, but overall, ServiceNow edges Intercom out in user satisfaction, especially for teams that care about support.
Market position now. Let's look at the numbers. Intercom's mindshare is on the rise, up to 1.9% in 2025 from just 0.2% before, which honestly is a big leap. But it's still kind of small potatoes compared to ServiceNow, which sits at a rock-solid 9.3%. Plus, it's super well established in the enterprise world. Downsides? More competition in that space, but if you want a leader, ServiceNow is the name. So yeah, ServiceNow is the clear winner for market position. And finally, use cases. Intercom is your go-to for customer support, sales engagement, marketing automation, and lead gen. It's got the vibe for teams facing customers, not internal tech stuff. ServiceNow, though, flips the script. IT service management, incident management, change management, asset tracking, the whole package for IT processes. Want a chat-focused experience? Go Intercom. Need to manage serious IT? That's ServiceNow. Both absolutely nail their lanes. So, yep, tie here.
All right, quick radar chart visual. Intercom's scoring highest in integrations, deployment, and pricing, while ServiceNow is leading in user satisfaction and market position. You can really see the strengths and, honestly, the gaps for each side with this snapshot. So, here's my final take. If you're all about customer engagement, conversational support, and want something up and running fast, Intercom is a no-brainer. If your world lives in IT operations, you need deep workflows, and you're running a big enterprise team, ServiceNow is still the king. Different winners for different needs, honestly. Just remember, pick the one that fits your team size and what you actually need, not just which brand sounds fancier. So, if you want awesome chat and customer-facing power, go Intercom. Need a beast for managing IT? ServiceNow's it. Still stuck deciding? Take a sec to think about your team size and your top use cases, and you'll know which way to go.